one of the leading principalities that existed in Lebanon. Of course, it's pre-Islamic, and it comes from the Hadramaut. The original family comes from the Hadramaut, which is today in the Yemen, and migrated over the years and established themselves first in Damascus and became a leading principality. But over the years, because of the different interactions with empires, whether it was the Abbasids or the Ottomans, they eventually settled down in the mountains of Lebanon and the Ghassanid region. Now, what's interesting about them, they were not the only ones, but they are one of the principal groups that essentially found refuge in the mountains of Lebanon. Now, let me backtrack a little bit, because I think most people will probably not know the details about the history of this country. Lebanon, as a geographic entity, is very tiny, less than 10,000 square kilometers, a little more than 10,000 square kilometers, but it is much bigger than its geographical size because of its mountainous regions. And throughout history, various leading families found refuge in certain areas. The Ghassanids, for example, established in the Zgharta area, they were a principality, which means they were not under the control of one of the empires. They were relatively independent. And for a long period of time, they did not have to pay financial sums of money in order to secure their freedom. They could interact independently from the empires under which they lived until the 1700s, where in fact the Ottomans exercised absolute power over most of Lebanon and had most of the leaders arrested, including several of the Ghassanid families, expelled a number of them, discouraged others to stay in the country, which is why a number of them left to Europe and the Americas, and eventually lost most of their holdings. What they did not lose, however, was the dream of re-establishing the principalities to come back and claim what rightfully is supposed to be theirs.
Many people don't know the history of our family, even in Lebanon. Why? Because, as Sir Winston Churchill wisely said, history is written by the victors. And by choosing to remain Christian and independent, we lost all of our lands, our kingdoms and principalities.
According to the Maronite patriarch Estephen Douahi, reputed as one of the greatest Middle Eastern historians of the 17th century, and also being in a beatification process since 2008 by Pope Benedict XVI, one of the families to be a direct descendant of the kings of Ghassan were the Sheikhs el-Chemor. The Sheikhs el-Chemor, faithful to the royal Ghassanid law, remained Christians. They ruled two small sovereign principalities until the 18th century, over 1,500 years after King Jaffna founded the Kingdom of Ghassan.
The writings of the Patriarch Douahi are divided into several sections: theological, liturgical, and the historical. The Ghassanids and the family el-Chemor are cited by His Beatitude Patriarch Stephen Douahi in the book The History of Times. The book speaks of Ghassanids with long chapters. It's a lot to talk today because it's very long.
The oldest family in the Arab world.
The history of the family of the Sheikhs el-Chemor was recently collected by the Maronite priest father Agnatius al-Khoury, with a book published in 1948 in which he spoke about the ruling of the Sheikhs of al-Chemor of al-Ahura, in addition to their transfer to the Zawi. They ruled the region of the Zawi and spread in several villages, like Kfer Hatta, Erdad, Rashim, and Quito, and their presence in Lebanon was due to their descent from King Jebela in Al-Ayyam al-Ghassani, the last king of the Ghassanids.
We established in Al-Aura, and we were there for something like 1,000 years, or maybe a little bit less. And when we left Al-Aura, we went to the north, which we call the Zawi, and this is between Tripoli and Ehdin. And we established ourselves in Farhata, and we stayed there since